Conversations That Matters. My name is Brittany Butler.
And I'm Michelle Treese.
And we have some amazing guests for you today.
We do. We're excited.
We're going to be talking to Jessie Wang and Valentina Gonzalez. So we hope you enjoy this one.
What we want to do first is have you guys introduce yourselves to us.
Okay.
So we're going to start with you, Valentina, since you were here first.
Okay. All right. Well, my name is Valentina Gonzalez, and I'm a business owner. I'm a marketer. I'm a mom. I'm a lot of things, but I'm here from Miami, Florida, and I've been here for 12 years. And I'm so freezing. It's. I'm always wearing fleece muumuus in the winter, but I love the four seasons, and I'm glad to be here today.
Thank you.
Great. And now you're up, Jessie.
Hi, I'm Jessie Wang. I work at ETSU here. I moved here in July 2020 to Johnson City. And before that, I lived in Boston, but I was born and raised in Miami too. So I feel like they paired us up for a reason.
I know.
Here. This is not going to be good.
I know.
But I'm so happy to be here today and excited to get to talk to you more.
I know. This is going to be fun.
Bringing the Miami spice.
Right.
I love it.
Oh,
Yeah, that's how I refer to my mom. Yeah. She's Miami Spice.
Miami Spice.
Yep.
Is your mom still down there?
Yeah, she still lives in Miami. Yeah.
So do my parents.
Yeah.
They're always sending me pictures when we have snow. They send me pictures of like a beautiful sunny day on the beach, and I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Exactly.
So how did you two meet each other?
The International Women's Luncheon Committee.
Yes, with the Langston Center.
Yes, with the Langston Center. So we showed up there, and it was a great event. It was a great lunch. It was I think we only had 1 month to prepare, plan it. It was awesome, and I think we had a good turnout. I think it was worth all the craziness of getting everything done. Yeah.
That's fabulous.
Were you able to?
I signed up for that, and I ended up. I work with ETSU too, and I had to do an observation, so I missed it. Attending. But
it was very nice. I was able to go, and y'all had poets.
Yes.
There, I thought that was really neat. So.
And I love that we supported a female-owned local business, the Cranberries.
Yes.
I have a weakness for the Oriental salad, so I was so happy to be there that day.
We had the owner of Cranberries on before here.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's great. So fun. So you guys have only known each other for like a couple of months?
Yeah, because I think we met in February, March.
Oh,
Yeah, because the International Women's Day is March.
That's right.
Something. Yeah.
So around that time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, fabulous.
Miami people connect quickly. There's only so many of us here. So.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, Valentina, tell us a little bit about your marketing business beyond
engagement. Yeah,
right?
so I started my business. I finished my MBA, and I was literally 1 semester away from graduating. And there were no job opportunities in the area. And I said, well, if there isn't any jobs, I'm going to just start my own business. And I moved here on Labor Day, and I started my business that January. So I had spent a couple of months networking, going to the Chamber of Commerce events, doing all these fun things. And then I started my business out of a need because I was like, there's no jobs. And every person that has a business has to have a social presence, has to have a Facebook page, has to have a LinkedIn, a Twitter. At the time, there wasn't Instagram, or it wasn't as popular. They have to have a presence to communicate, because marketing is about communication. It's a two-way street. You can communicate with your customers. It's not like the yellow pages where you just put it out on a book and call it a day. Now you can communicate with your audiences. Mm-hmm.
Love that. That's great.
Yeah.
Did you graduate from ETSU?
No, I went to the University of Florida, hence why we have a lot of tension, me and her.
We'll talk about that.
So I went to the University of Florida.
That fight y'all had.
I went to the University of Florida, and I got a degree. This is the funniest story. I wanted to be a veterinarian so badly. I grew up in a part of Miami where I could ride horses, the horse country area. So I would ride horses. I want to be helping horses one day. And then I took organic chemistry.
Oh no, here we go.
It always starts with organic chemistry.
It always starts and ends.
Exactly.
So it's so funny because I took organic chemistry. I did not do well, and that's when my dream died of being a veterinarian.
It has killed many a dream.
And it's so funny. I switched majors to the business side of animal sciences, so I can work for a pharmaceutical company or a feed company. And then just when I switched majors and did the business focus, I met my husband, who is a chemical engineer.
Nice.
And I made it to the dean's list, but I had switched my major, and I loved the business side of things by then. So that's what I did. I graduated in 2008 during the recession. There was no jobs.
Right.
Oh.
No jobs, but we both found jobs in the St. Pete, Tampa area, and I was selling medical equipment.
Oh wow.
So it was a great job. I loved sales, and I feel like I'm a salesperson at heart that just happens to be a marketer.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
And then I saw a need to learn more, so I went back and got my master's degree. And then right before I graduated, we moved here, and I didn't know a soul, but I grew my business because of Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
I met my mentor, Andrea Osalier from the Kingsport Chamber's office, and we bonded, and that's where it is.
And did your husband's job move you
Yeah.
up here? Okay.
Yeah, but we drove through Tennessee a year before we moved here, and it was just so beautiful. And I said, I want to move there one day. I was going to a horse competition in Kentucky. We had to go through Chattanooga. And I said, I want to move here so badly one day. And then a year to the date, we had moved.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's a great story, though.
Yeah.
And Jesse, I know a little bit about what you do at ETSU, but can you explain some of the programs and things that you're into?
Yeah, absolutely. So I serve as the Assistant Dean of Equity, Inclusion, and Student Success at ETSU. And so I do a lot of different work when it comes to recruitment, retention, and then, of course, all of our diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. So some of those has been starting a student of color mentoring program that we call Strive, so students teaching and representing inclusive values and excellence. And then also a first-generation student mentoring program that actually pairs up faculty and staff who are at the university who identifies first-generation themselves with first-generation undergraduate students, just to give them that representation, connect them with someone who has been through it, who has gone through it, who knows the struggle, and can really help guide them through the next few years that they're there until they ultimately reach that graduation stage. So I'm really excited about all the work that we've been able to do there, and it's been really nice. I've been able to be pretty creative, and everyone has supported me so far. So,
And I think that's a really important role because a lot of people don't realize how different college is. I'm a first generation, and I didn't know anything. I didn't have any
Absolutely.
support, anyone to help me. And I think it would have been much easier, much smoother, and different, and more pleasant, and more everything if I had like some sort of
that
mentor
connection, that mentor.
understood. Yeah.
Mhm.
hmm
And so this is really just helping connect them, give them community, and really give them a person that is going to help cheer them on until they get across that finish line. So it's been
That's
really, really great so far, and I'm really excited for all the work that we're doing over there.
That's
And,
great.
and so what did you want to be when you were growing up? Did you?
When I was growing up, I always knew I wanted to work in higher education. When I was growing up, I think I fluctuated so much. And so at one point I wanted to be, I wanted to go into fashion. And then I realized I really don't want to go into fashion. I thought I wanted to go into law. And then I realized I really don't want to go into law. Human resources. Didn't want to go into human resources. And then once I went to college, I actually got my bachelor's degree in counseling psychology. And I very much so wanted to be a counselor. But then at one point I realized I internalize other people's problems way too much for this to be a healthy career choice for me. And at that point I was super involved in student government, and I had basically an interim director job. So I was doing a lot for the college, and I realized I loved working with college age students. And so I was like, actually, this is a career I could do. And I never even realized it was a career that could be an option for me. And so I started applying for master's degree programs in higher education, went to a master's degree program, earned it, and then ended up here. And so, yeah, it's been an unusual pathway, but maybe also the usual pathway when it comes to higher education, because I don't think many people wake up and say, I'm going to work in a college one day.
Now, you might have said this, but when did you move to Johnson City, Washington County?
I moved in July of 2020. So
That's right.
I was finishing up my master's degree. And as I was doing that, the pandemic hit.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so you were 2008 when you were really looking.
Yeah.
And so I was in 2020. And
Wow.
it was a hard time too. A lot of the jobs, I had been moving forward in several searches, and a lot of jobs just started closing their job searches because they were trying to avoid furloughing and,
Yeah.
you know,
That must have been hard.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you
so
moved
it's crunch
here
time.
July 2020, the middle of nobody's out of their house.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was definitely a little bit of a shell shock at first. So I knew nobody in Johnson City, just like you. I didn't even know where Johnson City was on a map, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. I had not heard of it until I applied for this position at ETSU. And when I got here, though, I loved the area. It was very quiet at that time. And so it has been so nice to see businesses reopen and all the opportunities that have come out and the festivals that we have. That wasn't my experience when I first started here. And so it was, the first few months were definitely a little bit challenging because it was just, imagine moving somewhere where you don't know anybody and you can't meet anyone because no one's outside. Obviously, because we're in the middle of a pandemic, but definitely some challenges.
It's funny because I'm looking at Brittany here. I joined the junior league. I met Brittany here because of junior league, because it was one of the few things that people were still meeting in person.
Oh, funny.
And she's the reason, she's 50% of the reason why I joined junior league, because we did a virtual Zoom thing, and she just said the right things. And then I happened to run into her as soon as the Zoom thing ended at one of those little coffee places that's an Airstream.
Wild,
And it was so fun to meet.
Brews.
Yes, Blues Brews, when they were in Boone's Creek, in the Boone's Creek area. And it was so nice to meet her. And I was like, this is perfect because I need to socialize. I'm one of those people that need socialization. So
that's a Miami thing.
Yeah, it's a Miami thing. But it's just one of those things that I was so glad that there was something that was still open and seeing people.
A connection to be made. Mm-hmm. So that was actually what the Chamber of Commerce in Johnson City was for me. And so I got really involved in the young professionals. And so I actually reached out to Bob Cantler and I was like, hi, I'm new to the area and I'm really looking to get involved. And is there anything going on that I could be connected with? I had heard of this young professionals. And so I was able to get involved early on in it and really make some connections there. And that has really helped me, form that network in this area, but also just keep me here in the very beginning when it was so hard to meet people. Mm-hmm. And I became...
That's an interesting time to be here.
Yeah.
Because I'm imagining... I'm retired and I just stayed home. It's no big deal. But for you to move into a place where no one is out, and were you working? Like you got the job, you came in. Were you working?
I was working, and so we were actually back on campus at that time. Okay. We were just transitioning back to campus, and so the one good thing is I became really close friends with all my colleagues too. And so I did have that, and we would not necessarily hang out, but we would have different things that we could do together outside and things like that. So we found ways, but it was definitely a challenge to meet anybody outside of ETSU.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I think that's why a lot of people join like junior league because they're like, I want to hang out with people outside of my work.
Yeah, I need to diversify my friend group here a little bit. Not that I don't love my work friends.
Exactly. Your children, because that's when I same exact thing. I moved here for the first time back in 2009.
Yeah.
Luckily, my husband was able to find a job during that whole crazy time, but we moved here. We didn't know a soul. Our family's not near here. And so Junior League was exactly that, just a opportunity to meet some people who were doing things in the community and getting to know where places are, right? And so programs like this also, right now you know where the Giuseppe building is.
Yes.
Which I did not know until today. And so
I love it.
Learn something new.
Exactly.
So when you moved into this area, Washington County, this conversation is about connecting with the community and things like that. How were you accepted? How did you feel moving into this community? Because you kind of drove through the area, not even Johnson City. You had never been here. Yeah. When you got here, how did you feel welcomed? I mean, how was all of that for you?
So you're looking right at me. So I felt really welcome. I love that people here, they're very friendly, but I have had some resistance. Depends on where I am, where I'm hanging out, but I've gotten some negativity, but I put it into a positive. I always try to think positive. Even when in the height of the pandemic, I went to, I don't know where it was, one of the home repair stores. I was wearing my big hat because Miami, I always protect my face. So I always wear a ridiculous sun hat. I had my big Miami glasses on. I had my mask on because you had to wear a mask. And I just started talking to my husband in the paint section. And people were like, Valentina, like I'm covered up and the whole 9 yards. And I've learned to embrace my accent. Like we both grew up in the same place and people are like, you have an accent. And I'm like, I do. And I used to have like a complexity with it. But now with the pandemic and realizing that it really makes me stand out, I've embraced it. But I've heard a lot of things when I moved here, that Miami is not part of this country. Yeah, so I've heard a lot of things. Florida's not the South, which I guess I agree with that. So I've heard some negative things, but I've also had the best best people, the most friendliest people. Like, I've had a surgery, people come and drop me food. I've had a baby, people drop. So I love living here, but I've had some negative things said to me.
It's a both and.
Yeah. And then not saying that I'm a gator, that's just a whole other dimension. That gets me in big trouble here. But I've had positive interactions. There's just been some negatives, but there's mostly been wonderful things. Friendly people, amazing people. I'm so blessed to live here. If not, I would have left a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely had concerns before moving here. And so I remember when I told my parents, and grew up in Miami, then living in Boston for 5 years. And I call up my parents and I say, I'm going to move to Johnson City, Tennessee to take a job in the middle of a global pandemic where everybody is really scapegoating Asian Americans. And my dad, who's Chinese, is like, are you sure this is a good idea? And I was like, I want to try it. And like, I have a gut feeling that I try to follow my gut. And I was like, I really feel like this is a place where I want to see what it's going to be like. And as soon as I moved here, I've really loved it. And I have really felt welcomed, honestly. I had a lot of concerns and none of them were met, actually. And so that has been really refreshing for me. People here have been so friendly. I actually always tell a story that the first time that I was like jogging, I had just moved in and a car drives by me and they wave. And I was like,
you don't see that in Miami.
What did I do? Are they flipping me off? Like, I thought they were flipping me off. Like, I was like, I'm just running.
No one waves at you in Miami.
And then I realized, yes, people are waving because that's just like a thing we do here.
Yeah.
Like, we're nice to each other? What?
Exactly.
And so different from Miami and Boston and so much more community focused, I think, which is what I really enjoy. And you're able to get involved here, right? Like, I feel like I've been able to get involved in the city way more than I would have been able to do if I was living, somewhere like Miami or Boston, a larger city.
I'm glad you both said that because now you can never leave. So
Signed an agreement.
You can never leave, especially people that I like. I'm like, don't even post it on Facebook.
That was that paper we signed when we first came in here.
Exactly.
I agree with you. I think there are a lot of welcoming, community-minded folks here, and some people do get frustrated with the opposition or things that take a toll on them, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to move somewhere else." But it's
there are challenges everywhere.
Exactly, there's challenges everywhere in this area. I really like it, and I always say, even though I hate hiking, it's still
people have tried to get me onto that.
I love hiking.
Okay,
oh
so
no!
Let's go back. How do you feel about hiking?
When I first came here, like everyone was like, "Oh, it's nice to meet you." Like everyone who worked at ETSU, let's go hiking, and I was like,
"Thank you."
What? Like, is that something we do here?
Oh my goodness!
Like just for fun? Like, are we running from people? Is there an apocalypse? Like, please expand.
I love hiking.
Hiking through a shopping mall? I have, because people have peer pressured me into it.
Sure. Exactly.
And I can be peer pressured. And so I go hiking right up until I see like a snake, and then I'm like, and 180, like we're going back to the car. This has been a day.
Yeah, it's funny. I took my mom hiking to Laurel Falls. You only do Laurel Falls every 5 years because you remember what a beating it is to go down those rocks for like a mile.
I have done that one.
Yes, the rock one. And
I mentioned coming back up.
So
it's coming back up.
Listen to
Where
this.
is that one? Is that one
That's
near
near
Church?
Elizabeth.
Yeah, so it's past the Dunkin' Donuts as you're going to Roan Mountain.
Do you describe all of your directions by where the Dunkin' Donuts is? 'Cause I've heard this several times now. Like, turn left at the Dunkin' Donuts.
But listen to this. So
Which Dunkin'?
It's a hard hike, and Ridgewood was closed when my mom was here in April. So I said, I am not doing this because Ridgewood is closed today.
And
My
where's
only Ridgewood barbecue.
Okay.
Like if I were to have a last meal,
There's an incentive.
like if I had to die today and I was in the Tri-Cities, my last meal would be Ridgewood barbecue. And it's the baked beans with the bacon and the blue cheese dip. And I don't like blue cheese, and it tastes nothing like blue cheese. But that day, they're closed on Sundays. So you do the Laurel Falls hike every 5 years because you forget how much of a beating it is to do it. So we got to the point where we had to descend to the rocks. And I'm like, look, Mom, I loved you. You were a great mother. But
I mean, how are you selling hiking right now? You're literally saying that you are like, this is it.
But that was
This
a
is
great.
the end.
We're talking about Washington, even though I think that's technically Carter County. My first hike was when I moved here. I went to the Move to Kingsport committee, and Bob Miller, who was 95 at the time, he's 107 right now. He took me on my first hike at Bays Mountain, the Lakeside Trail. The most beautiful trail. It's not too crazy, not too steep. It's perfect. Perfect trail. And I'm like, if a 95-year-old man can take me hiking,
I can do it.
and every time I'm pregnant or every time, I've been through so many life milestones since I moved here. I've had both my babies here in the 12 years. I think about that first hike that I've ever done in my life in the Bays Mountain, in the Lakeside Trail with a 95-year-old man.
That's great.
Yeah. And my husband, it was the three of us hiking. Yeah.
It's for the views.
Yeah. The views are great.
But
Yeah.
you know they have those on like postcards and
Yeah, like if
Like,
you
you can
Google
Google.
images, did you know that they will just come up?
Different.
like,
There's water lilies. It's beautiful.
My favorite hikes are the ones you can drive to, and you get out and you're like, wow, what a view.
That's how that Gold Mountain is.
The beauty spot.
I don't even know.
I've been to
I
beauty
tried
spot.
going to that. I tried going there.
Drive.
Mhm.
What is?
I'll take you.
Okay.
Yeah, take
I
me
did
to
Tanner
Zion.
and Knobs.
I will not send you.
This is our next group event.
Yeah. Okay.
But it better be drivable. Don't be
Yeah.
underselling it to us,
You're
and we're
not.
gonna get there and be like,
Hey.
hey.
There, okay. I don't like.
Yeah. The roads are hard to get to for that one, though.
So how did your mom handle the hike? Was
Oh, she
'cause that's
loves
not a
it.
common
Miami
thing.
Spice loves hiking. She's like, every time she comes here, she has to hike. It's a requirement.
Wow.
Now is
Fabulous.
Miami like New Orleans where everything's flat?
Yes.
Like it's just everything's flat.
Yes,
right?
just
Okay.
flat.
Yeah.
So my mom's afraid of mountains. She doesn't even like to look at them.
Yeah.
She visits.
But it's,
So curvy.
she's an immigrant, so where she's from, there is mountains and volcanoes and that sort of stuff. So she loves coming here. She loves the peace that you feel when you live in the
Yes.
Tri-Cities,
That's
especially hiking. Yeah.
My
Where's
mom
she
is the
from?
biggest Johnson City fan too. So
Yeah.
there's something here.
Yeah, she's from Central America. She's from Nicaragua, and then my in-laws are Cuban.
Okay.
But they're, they've lived here forever, since the 80s. My mom, at least. So it's one of those things that it reminds her of where she's from.
Nice.
That's great.
Yeah.
How often does she visit you?
Not enough, but every couple of months she comes to visit me, and it's great because the thing is, and we were probably going to get to that. Whenever you visit Miami, you don't feel. I don't know if you feel this way, but I feel I'm home, but I'm not home.
Yeah.
Like so,
There's
I'm in
almost
my.
a disassociation with it. That
So it's like
have.
this feels home, but then it sometimes doesn't feel home. Like Easter, Christmas, all the holidays, I get so sad.
Yeah.
Because it's like the tradition, the gathering of the people. And you probably experienced this, Brittany, with New Orleans. It's very similar. You have all the family, there's a lot of food, and then you're here and you don't have that.
Yeah.
And you have to hope that someone invites you to their house.
Mhm.
And it's so sad.
Do
But-
your folks come up during the holidays?
They try to, but my mom always comes in Thanksgiving. It's her thing that she comes to every year because it's my wedding anniversary. So she comes to be with us. But the holidays are hard,
Yeah.
and it's just when you go to Miami and you visit, you're like, it's home, but it's not home.
Right.
Like I listen to Mumford and Sons, and I'm like, the mountains. I miss the mountains. Where are the mountains? I listen to certain music that plays in the radio. I'm like, I miss Tennessee. And it's like I don't know if you felt this.
Yeah.
I've asked other people that are not from here, and they kind of say the same thing, that it's home, but it's not home sometimes.
Do you have siblings?
Yeah, but they're in Miami. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So what would be, let me switch off.
Yeah.
Jesse, what would be a typical holiday that your family gets together that you remember when you were a kid that you're like, oh my God, it's so great?
Oh, I think I want to say probably Christmas was the biggest time that we all got together, because that would be all of my family on my dad's side would get together too. We actually would go up to New Jersey, and so that was our big kind of holiday gathering that we would see everybody. Other than that, we basically celebrated holidays a little bit more small. Thanksgiving was also the time where we would see everyone together. But I do miss those, and I will say, to your point, it was hard when you first moved here. just not having that family connection here. Just like you know, I had no family here, and so
I think it's worse when you have kids
hard.
because you want to pass it on to them, and they're like, "Where's grandma, grandpa? Why can't we be with them?" So it's harder. I don't know, Brittany, if you felt that way. It's harder when you have kids too.
Well, and we were always traveling either to West Virginia, to my in-laws, or my family in New Orleans for like every holiday. And we finally, me, because I'm a genius, I said that we have to have some that we stay here and start building our own
Tradition.
Yes.
So like every third year we stay here for Christmas and don't travel. And it's been so nice because I was like, wait a minute, they don't have a memory of waking up in their own beds, going to their own Christmas tree and seeing, you know, having me mess up some pancakes.
Yeah. I doubt that happens. I doubt that you
make pancakes. I can't make pancakes. The children will tell you.
Mike,
So
I can make
they are
cookies.
very honest.
Yeah. So they rank them. Mimi's famous pancakes. Oh. The pancakes that we get from the random hotel we stay in West Virginia. McDonald's pancakes. And then like Mommy's pancakes. Like I'm at the bottom. I'm always at the bottom. Like everything will.
You know what they say though, there's nowhere to go but up from
Yeah.
there. I mean, their expectations are so low. All you can do is happily surprise them at this point.
That's the secret to a happy life right there.
Yeah, maybe try a different waffles, French toast.
If it makes you feel better, when I make cookies, they come out like pancakes.
Okay. Okay.
They
Yeah.
must be really nice and chewy.
Yeah.
They're flat and long.
So how about for you? What would that memory as a kid, the family tradition that you miss? What would that
It depends because we were one of those, and I don't know if you've done this too. When you're in Miami, you kind of hop around on the same holiday. So you go to the matriarch, then you go to this house, and then you go to that house, and then I would get like 3 or 4 different meals. And it
A
just
lot of
depends.
food.
Like if I was with the Cubans, it would be the pork with the rice and the beans. If it was my parents' side, it was like the hen with the little wet stuffing. There's always key lime pie and honey baked ham because it's like a staple in Miami, but it's always rice and beans. And then if I was with like the Americans, I would get like the pumpkin pie and the turkey. So I had to me, it was just hopping from one place to Miami to the next, tasting all his food. So yeah, it was a foodie adventure. Yeah.
A foodie adventure.
I think it's interesting. I think all of us in this room have moved to different cities from where our parents are, if I'm not mistaken, right? And I know when I think about doing those family traditions, you know, when I was a kid, it was with my mom, and I had a single mom, and we would celebrate at our house, and then we would go to my grandparents, and then my cousins, and that kind of thing. So here, I'm an hour away. My parents have passed away. I have 2 sons. We don't have that. My brothers, one's in Morristown, one's in Nashville. So that wake up and do, and then, you know, we don't have any of that. So it's almost like we sacrifice that family tradition networking thing when we decide to
Move
grow
away.
up and move away and get a job. That kind of thing. So, because I moved here for a job as well.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, and how do we make those traditions? And I think about I don't think I did a good job as a parent making these great traditions. We have them, but I don't think it's like what my mom had. Like, I think every Sunday we had fried chicken, which is a classic. I can't even fry chicken, you know? And I think about, man, my boys are missing out on that wonderful Sunday dinner that we always had. And, you know what you do? You kind of sacrifice that. You build new things. Like, you build new traditions.
I like it that you said that because I feel like people are like, how do you do what you do, Valentina? Like, how have you been so successful? I don't have family. So I work every day. Like, you know, back in the day when the kids would nap, we would work even harder from 12 to 2 every day, like Saturday and Sunday. And it's like, how do you get so much stuff done? Because we have no one to see. Like you say Sunday, everyone here, if you ask the locals, they go to the parents' house, they go to the in-laws' house, and they spend the whole Sunday with them. I don't have that. So I just work.
Yeah.
I keep working. Yeah.
And it's hard to get like babysitters
Yeah.
and stuff set up. And it's just easier to, my husband and I used to do a thing where if we wanted to see a movie, like I would go see it first and he would watch the kids.
Oh no.
And then he would go see it and I would watch the kids. And then
I'll
we'd,
watch
like,
your
talk
kids
about
for
it.
you.
I'll just drop them off at Sky's house too.
So you go.
Truly. I would have a blast.
Yeah, we waited.
Oh, nice, yeah.
We waited 5 years until we hired a babysitter.
Yeah.
5
Wow.
years.
Yeah.
So we just depended on like the mommy's day out programs. If they had a parents' night out like once a quarter or once a year, we would take advantage. Or when my mom would visit, or anyone would visit. So it was hard. Yeah.
Now, how are your kids?
They're 9 and 7. Yeah.
And where do they go to school?
They go to school at Lake Ridge Elementary.
And how's school for them?
It's been fun with the TCAPs. Let's just leave it. We'll just
your brains back.
let's just leave it at. Because I remember you're a retired school teacher, right? So the TCAPs, how it's just how they changed the law and the pressure the kids have, and all the kids I've talked to, it's been so hard on them.
Yeah.
It's been so hard on them.
Incredible, unnecessary stress.
And the thing is, our kids, at least my kid, my oldest, the one that actually had to do the TCAPs this year, she never got to finish kindergarten. She went on spring break and never got back to So it's like they changed the law, and I'm going to go on my little soapbox. Please forgive me. No. They changed the law on the kids that never got to finish kindergarten.
Yeah. Mm. Like, what about grandfathering people in?
Yeah.
Like, for this set of kids, you missed this, but y'all got to go to school from this grade forward. Perfect point. Mm-hmm. I mean, my gosh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Perfect point.
And even first grade, there was like a 2-week delay and this and that. So it's like they were at a disadvantage, and they changed this law for these children. And it's just, you feel for them, and no one is excited. They're all anxious. They're all nervous. They're all stressing. And it's just unnecessary for them.
Yeah. Well, and I even had a teacher at my kid's school mention how all the colleges and things now are going to SAT, ACT optional.
Really?
Because standardized testing, there's just not that much research that really links it to being a telltale sign of how much you know. And it just leads to so much anxiety that I think there's so many factors that come into play that puts you at a deficit.
Mm-hmm. And how can you set a standard when there's so many deficits, there's so many challenges, there's so many differences across the state as well as in the nation? Yeah. Who is to say that there is a standard for anything?
Of course, yeah.
There's not.
I was a terrible test taker.
Me too.
As a student, I remember that.
Yeah.
And I had terrible test taking anxiety too. And
just thinking about it gives me anxieties.
Yes. And you can be successful even as a terrible test taker, but you don't feel like it at that moment. Yeah. And that's what's hard for kids.
Yeah, you don't feel it at that time. You're right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So do y'all miss anything about like the big city, about Miami, and just the...
I personally miss like the family, the food,
the diversity.
Yeah. And we were talking about this the first time we met at the Langston Center for the International Women's Luncheon. And this is something I need to harp on and like really talk about. It doesn't matter what you look like. You might be Black, you might be Asian. There is an assumption that you're Hispanic somehow. Because of that. Because, in, for example, in Peru, there was a Japanese president in the 90s. So there's Chinese people in all over the Latin America. Blacks, there's Dominicans. So it's like you make an assumption that people speak to you and you're Hispanic.
You do get, everyone would speak to me in Spanish. And I spoke un poquito. Just enough to get by in Miami, but...
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
And honestly, when I moved here, one of the biggest culture shocks was not hearing Spanish.
Exactly.
Even when you're in a grocery store, the announcements are in English and Spanish. And so here, it's just like,
and
I really don't hear other languages.
Like I go to the bank, they assume that I speak Spanish. They start talking to me in Spanish.
Yeah.
Like that's how the assumption is.
And is that a non-Spanish person speaking to you in Spanish?
No, it's a Hispanic person obviously speaking to me in Spanish. Okay, she makes an assumption that I speak Spanish. And of course you kind of have to a little bit just to get by.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the demographics off the top of my head.
I think last time I checked, this was years ago, like 69% or something, like a high number.
Latinx
or Hispanic. Yeah.
In this area? Or
no,
Miami.
And here it's like 1%.
I was about to say.
1% here.
And so it's very different.
Yeah. 1 to 3%, I think. Yeah.
So let me ask you this question. This is probably giving away a Black secret. When I know, sorry folks, I don't even have a Black card. I'm trying to take it.
I'll tell you something about that later.
Oh my goodness.
So when as a Black woman, minority in Johnson City area, Washington County. So when we're walking or driving and you see another Black person, we have that little nod that says, I see you, Black person. Do you guys have that? Do you do something if you?
I mean, I'm not sure I've seen that many other Asian Americans in here to nod to.
I'm gonna say when I go
We
to
would nod to each other.
we bonded with each other because of that. When I go to a Mexican restaurant, because that's most of what we see here, I talk in Spanish. I want extra chips and salsa.
You're locking it in.
I'm locking it in.
So is that the secret? If I speak to them in Spanish, I'll get extra.
Let's not put this in. Yeah, I always order. If I go to a Mexican restaurant, I always order in Spanish.
I'm gonna learn that.
Even if I'm with people that don't speak Spanish, I will speak Spanish to the waitress or waiter, and I make the assumption, just like they make the assumption of me. I will make that assumption and start talking in Spanish.
Now, if I do that as a Black woman to a someone who is Hispanic at a Mexican restaurant, am I being kind of like, oh, you're trying to talk to me? You know you ain't
I don't know.
Hispanic.
I wouldn't know since I'm not that in that scenario.
Yes.
But yeah, I wouldn't know.
So I will say, like, growing up in Miami, I would have people come up to me all the time and be like, "Ni hao," and I was like, "Hi." And so there was this assumption, and they would be, you know, we're talking about, you know, someone who's not Asian, and there would be this assumption, and there were times that could make me uncomfortable. So there could be a slight microaggression there at times, but I think it really depends on the intention too, and depends on if you know the person, of course. So there's other factors at play.
There's a business etiquette. You talk in Spanish, and then when you get to the business side of things, you switch to English. Yeah, and it's just it depends on where you're from. Like I've said this in the past before. If you're talking to someone in the Caribbean, you say, "Hey, what's up?" Now, if you talk to someone in South America, Colombia, Argentina, you say, "Hi, how are you?" You approach people differently. Yeah.
That is very interesting.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you mentioned Black Card.
Black Card.
And when I picked up my son the other day, he asked if he was allowed to give other people a Black Card. And I said, son, you only have about 30% of a Black Card.
Yeah.
So you might want to hold on.
Even yours is.
I was like, no. You cannot.
Look,
I lost mine a long time ago, so you don't. You
Son, I'm going to need you to sit down.
I'm learning something new because I don't know what Black Card means. That's why I have my hand in the air.
So, I had to explain to him fully.
Yeah.
I said it's like a figurative thing. He's been into watching Big Bang Theory, and so I was like, it's like if Sheldon took away Leonard's pocket protector, like theoretical pocket protector for physicists, and said, "Oh, you know, that's wrong. I'm taking your pocket protector. You're no longer a physicist." I said it's like the stereotypical Black Card. And then I told him the story about Nick Jonas, about how I wanted to go see a Nick Jonas concert. And so the people I was talking to said, "No, I'm gonna have to take your Black Card." So it's like you do something
my goodness.
not Black enough, and so they take your Black Card.
I mean, was it a Nick Jonas or a Jonas Brothers?
It was Nick Jonas. Oh no.
I have no opinion.
Jonas Brothers too.
Just see the
hilarious. Yeah, that's hilarious. I've lost it so many times.
I know. I can tell you the two people that have mine right now, they ain't giving it back anytime soon. So I will work on it. That's great. That is great. Oh my goodness.
So what are y'all doing? What do y'all have lined up this summer? Any big travel plans or?
I'm still trying to finalize my travel plans, but I do want to, maybe visit the family. Someone's gonna have a baby, so I want to visit.
Ooh, exciting!
So I want to see the baby because the last time they had a baby it was during COVID and we couldn't see the baby. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anything lined up yet either. I'm teaching a class this summer, and then
What are you teaching?
I teach. So it's a first year kind of course for ETSU students, but I teach it for Bucks Academy under our Multicultural Center. And so it's basically a summer bridge program. And so we're working with historically underrepresented students for the most part that come to campus early. And so we actually teach them a 3-credit classes, basically the basics of what it's like to adjust to a university, the skills that you need. But it's really a great group, and I did it last summer and I loved it. So I'm doing that all throughout the month of July. But other than that, I don't really have too many summer plans. Things do calm down a little bit for us at ETSU just because students are off campus. But I am trying to get home too. So at one point, my grandmother is still alive. She is 98 years old.
Awesome. Wow.
She's living with my parents. It's my dad's mom, and she likes to tell me every time that I leave. She's like, if you don't come see me soon.
Oh my God.
goodness, the guilt is high. So I get often guilt tripped into returning. I just hope I see you before. I'm like, okay, I get it. I will come visit you soon.
It's so funny because I was originally born in Houston, but I lived in Miami all my life. I have a grandma and an aunt and an uncle in Houston. And I did these like crazy tacky Easter pictures. We all got the same clothes from Old Navy, the same Hawaiian dress. It was 37 degrees. And I had a photographer take our pictures just because you never know with the grandmas. You never know. So it was 37 degrees. We were all wearing summer clothes for our Easter pictures. And I'm not one to do these things, but I did it for the grandmas.
Do it for the grandmas.
Yeah.
Wow. So tell us about your moms. I mean, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Tell us about your moms.
Miami Spice, she is a fiery person. I love her. She's an Aries, so I'll cut her some slack. When you are raised by a mom, a single mother that is the breadwinner, she's everything. You appreciate your mom when you have children. You're like, God, how did you do it? And all the stuff that you went through in this country as an immigrant. You have this appreciation. She loved me so much, and that's why I'm so loving with people. She gave me so much love. There's such an abundance of love that she gave me that I'm oozing love to other people. And it's just, it's one of those things that I love her. I don't want to get emotional.
I love that she loved you so much that you're oozing with love for others.
Yeah.
That is so sweet.
I heard that once, and I'm like, how do I translate that in English? That's how it is.
Google Translate.
People know that about me. Like when, let's say you get sick or something, I deliver a meal. Like I help others, and I got that from her. So
That's wonderful.
yeah,
That's so sweet.
How
Yeah.
about you, Jesse?
I think I got even closer with my mom when I moved here, actually. And so when I was living in Boston, Boston's pretty far away from Miami, and my parents still live there. And so they've lived there for like 20 plus years now. And I rarely got to see them, only probably for like a holiday once or twice a year. Whereas now, 12 hours, you would think that's not drivable, but my mom is like, drivable!
Yeah.
And so she comes and visits me so often now. And she loves this area, so she gets really excited to come here. She is not a huge fan of Florida, and she loves the fact that we have the 4 seasons here, that it's not quite as hot or humid. People are friendlier, pace is a little bit slower here.
Yeah.
And so she loves it. She wants to move here completely. Like, I think she would move in with me if I let her. She calls my guest bedroom her room. She's like, is my room ready? And I was like, you mean the guest bedroom?
I love
because
it.
I don't see you. Where are you chipping in on the mortgage? I mean,
Yeah, it's funny. My mom, I think all the moms, my mother-in-law, my mom hate Florida. They all hate it.
yeah, that's
They
true.
hate-
The moms hate Florida.
But
We'll start a new campaign.
They would love to live here, but I think one of them is the caregiver, my in-laws. And the other, my mom, she just can't handle the cold. She says it straight out. Everyone asks her, when are you going to move up here? When are you? I'm like, my mom's like, I cannot handle the cold weather you guys have up there. That's what's stopping her.
That's amazing.
You see, living in Boston, I have to tell you that this isn't
Oh, yeah.
cold. I hate to tell you, but it can get worse.
Yeah.
Jesse, does your mom drive? Does she drive for 12 hours?
Yes, she drives
Wow.
for 12
Straight
hours.
through?
Oh yeah, with the dog too. She's like, I'm here.
My mom's gonna have to carpool with her. 'Cause my
I
mom
mean, there
likes
we
road trips. My
go.
mom
We
likes
can
road
figure
trips.
this out.
Yeah, she takes the Tri-Cities, Miami to Charlotte to Tri.
It's hard to fly. So if we're talking about things we miss,
Mm-hmm.
a major airport.
Yeah.
I think that might be the thing that I miss the most is I was very privileged growing up in the fact that I never had to do connecting flights because I always
Exactly.
had major airports. And so, Miami just flies everywhere.
Yeah, it's funny because
And
we
so,
went to New
yes.
Orleans in the fall break, and there was no flights straight from here to New Orleans.
No.
There's nothing.
You have to cross over.
But guess
Sometimes you
what?
have to go out of your way to get where you want to go.
You had to go through Charlotte or
Atlanta is usually.
Or even Dallas Fort Worth.
yes.
Yes,
So it was easy for my mom. $78, the best $78
Yeah.
from Miami to New Orleans.
Yeah.
Free
Simple
babysitting.
flight.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Party town to another party town. Yeah.
One to the other.
I love it.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's great. Moms are important. They are. They're big, and it's always cool to hear what kind of influence did they have on you
Yeah.
as a becoming
Yeah.
Growing
an
up.
adult. So yeah, that's cool.
No, Valentina, I have to ask you about, because I have my noonday
Yeah.
on.
I have my noonday on.
Yeah.
So I have a side hustle where I sell fair trade jewelry that's made around the world. So I have artisans from like Ecuador, East Asia, Uganda. So it's a side hustle. I started it 4 years ago this month. And it's just, I read the book from the founder and I was like, these stories tug at my heart. Like the original artisan from Uganda, Jalia, she was living off of $2 a day in Uganda. And she's like, I just want to live to be 55. And now she has about 200 to 300 artisans at one time hand rolling these beads, these jewelry pieces. And there's so many beautiful stories that Noonday Collection has. But I wear my pieces. Brittany's wearing her piece. And I remember you stepped on one of the earrings that you're wearing right now, right?
Yeah, this is the second pair.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did.
It happens.
So it's my hobby. It's my hobby. I do shows, at people's houses or, and it's one of those things that it's just a way to hang out with friends. Because the thing is, like, you either hang out with your coworkers, or in my case, I work for myself, so.
So you hang out with yourself.
I mean,
all your coworkers.
Yeah, so it's a way to hang out with friends outside of a work setting. Yeah.
So what is this called again? Moon?
This is Noonday Collection.
Noonday.
Collection. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So I wear these pieces. This is made in East Asia, getting women out of exploitation, trafficking.
Wow.
They reunite them with their families. They give them new life skills like, Microsoft Office, or they make the jewelry. So it's just beautiful story of these artisan partners that we have.
And so are you on Facebook if I want to?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. I'm on, trust me, I'm everything but TikTok.
Not on TikTok.
But TikTok.
Yeah.
That's great. Do you have clothes or all jewelry?
It's mostly jewelry and some apparel, home decor. There's a little, and purses.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
Yeah, because I know someone loves her purses. Yeah.
It's a problem.
Yeah. So it's a hobby. It's a side hustle, a hobby. I think I read a statistic that 60% of women right now have a side hustle or hobby, money producing thing, an income generator, or they're asking for a promotion this year. 60% of working moms right now.
Wow.
So most of the country, half the country has some sort of other way to make a living.
And you just, you have to right now.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
Jesse, what's your side hustle? Or hobby?
What is my side hustle?
You can tell us about.
That you can tell us about.
She's talking about feet.
I love it.
Well, I actually do 2 jobs for the university because I took on equity inclusion. So about a year and a half ago, I started off as just student success. Yeah. And then a year and a half ago, I took on equity inclusion. So I do 2 different jobs there. And then outside of that, there are probably little ways that I have done things. And so over social media, you're able to have some income streams that come over that, not from anything, just like with brands.
Yeah.
So with brands, you're able to do that. And then even Facebook Marketplace. So I am a big Facebook marketplacer. Oh. And a lot of times you're able to resell things that you have or sell things you're not using and actually make a fair amount of money.
Can I ask you a question? Where do you meet with people to exchange?
I know it's always nerve-wracking as a woman doing this because there's always a safety concern. And so usually I try to pick like a really public place. I do not meet when it's dark outside. Like you have to meet during daylight hours. And I try to find like a parking lot. So like a parking lot like in front of Target or something like that. Somewhere that is going to be busy, that there's going to be people because you have to think about that as a woman and a young woman living alone. Like I definitely want to make sure that I'm being mindful of my safety. And I'll tell my like friends too. I'll be like, hey, I am meeting up with someone on Facebook Marketplace. This is their name. And if I do not respond in 10 minutes, I have gone missing and I would like you to call. Have you seen Taken? Because that is my expectation.
Oh my goodness, yes. Which one? There's like 3 of them.
Yeah, it's true. Maybe 4 now. Oh my God. If you don't go full Liam Neeson for my return, are we really friends?
I love it. You have to be like that these days.
Yeah, just be careful. Be careful.
Yeah.
That's a crazy thing to have to watch out for that kind of stuff, but this is where we are.
It is, but I will say I feel so much safer here than like in Miami. I wouldn't even dream of doing some of these things, like meeting up with strangers. Same thing with Boston. And here, I mean, I have not had a negative experience yet, so.
No yet.
Yet.
Right.
But were your
Knock on wood.
moms nervous for you moving here from, like, was it hard for them to shift mentally that it's not a big city, not like Miami, and having to worry about that kind of stuff?
I don't think so. I think they knew it was a small town. Things are different, but it's also the unknown. Like, who is there? Since you don't know where you're going, the streets. Be careful. Yeah.
My mom was thrilled because I think she also sees it as being a lot safer. I will tell you that she came here during Christmas when all the Christmas trees are up in winter, and my mom like, you live in a Hallmark movie? Like, you didn't tell me. And she was just like, I love it here. I'm never leaving. And I was like, what?
But did you take her downtown Jonesborough?
I did.
Yes, I always do that.
And she was like, Gilmore Girls?
Yeah, my mom, we call it El Pueblito. El Pueblito is like the little town. And that's how we refer to Jonesborough.
I mean, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was here. And one day I was trying to get to the Lowe's in Jonesborough. And I just was driving in my car and happened to drive through there. And I was like, where am I?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
What is this quaint, perfect, quintessential town that I didn't know existed? And so, yes, there's something about this area that's just so charming. And my mom definitely sees that and is like, yes.
So all the festivals and things that you can do, storytelling festival.
Yes.
What's one of your faves in this area?
Oh my God.
And the Ramp Festival is coming up in Unicoi County this weekend.
Which one is it?
It's the Ramp Festival.
Oh,
Okay.
I know that.
So ramps, do you know what ramps are?
Oh, yeah, you know.
Ramps are a variation of the onion, but it's like
Appalachian.
onion times 50. Like, oh my God, onion.
You have a festival about everything here.
It's a vegetable. And so
Wow.
they have 1,000 different recipes with ramps. Isn't it like an onion? And people put it with some potatoes.
Oh my goodness,
But
that sounds
wow.
it is an incredibly, I've never gone, number one. Number two, it's Unicoi County. I don't tend to go there much. Kind of a little different place because of this. And
I'll take you out.
thank you.
I want to go.
Escorted.
I want to go.
Yeah, y'all have to be escorted. But that's a festival that's coming up. So you guys may
Well,
want
there
to
was
just venture
Horizon
out.
Latino
I
last
went
week.
there.
I missed it because I think I had a headache. I suffer from headaches, like the sinus headaches. I really wanted to go. That's
fabulous.
awesome. That
was Friday, right?
Yeah, the Apple Festival, the one in October.
That's Apple Festival. That's out in the same area.
I love the Apple Festival.
You go to the Ramp Festival. You might like that.
I might have to go because I love going over there. I just love the little elephants. They have little elephant statues. Look it up. There's this Irwin elephants.
I was about to say, do you know the story? But
I know
we'll
the
get into
story.
that
Look it up. Look it up.
They are, and they're doing such a good job of that. They really are.
Yeah.
Meet the Mountains is probably one of my favorite festivals. What I love is our Fridays after 5.
Yeah.
And the reason I love that is that was for me one of the first moments that I really felt kind of at home here, honestly, was when I had a whole bunch of my friends invite me to go to this. Yeah. And I'm sitting at this festival, drinking water. Listening to live music. Yeah. And all my friends are surrounding me and we're sitting on a picnic blanket. And I was like, this is what I wanted. This is what Johnson City has to offer that is so special. Is these things that it feels like they're out of a movie almost from someone who lived in cities my whole life. And so this just was never my experience of having this homey kind of feel. And that happened every single Friday over the summer. And so every Friday, that was our tradition that we would all do this after work, and they would bring their kids. And I don't have kids of my own, but I love kids. So
they're all dancing.
So I take ownership for all my friends' kids. I'm like, they're basically mine. And so I'm hula hooping with them. And it was just, so much fun. So
that is fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that one of your best festivals?
Yeah, like I said, I love the Apple one. I don't know why I love the Apple. I'm not a big Apple person, but it's just so cute and stuff.
Picturesque.
Yeah, it's just there's so many things to do here, and that's the thing. It's just finding the time to do it. Yeah.
Someone
Farmers
said
markets
that
too.
Johnson City is within a day's drive of the entire East Coast.
Yeah,
Really?
exactly.
Yeah. Which is pretty cool when you think
I
about
mean,
it.
yeah.
Because
I drove from Boston, and I drove from Boston here, and I drove from Miami here, and it's 12 hours both ways.
So you can get to the coast within at least a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, my parents is 14 hours because of their bladders.
Yeah. I mean, we have the dog, so I mean, 14 hours is more of what it actually takes. 12 hours if you were just going.
Yeah.
What was that fuzzy worm caterpillar?
Oh yeah, the
Woolly Worm
Festival.
Festival.
Glowing rock. I think.
Yes, I heard about that one.
I have not heard of this.
Yeah.
Is it Banner Oak?
Banner Elk.
Yeah.
maybe.
Banner
Yeah.
Oak is North Carolina.
Yes. Banner Oak is beautiful.
That's a nice one.
Yeah.
I love the storytelling festival.
We had Archstra class Saturday. That was nice. It's an arts festival.
Okay.
Do you guys do the farmers market?
I love the farmers market.
But you get carried away in there.
You do.
I get my pumpkins every
I don't
year.
need the things I buy, but I buy them anyways.
I get my Halloween pumpkins every year
Yeah.
there. They have like the brain pumpkin, the one that looks like peanut shells on the pumpkin.
Oh.
Yeah, I love
I mean, it's really, you have to think about it. Like, it's not me spending my money unnecessarily. It's me supporting the local economy.
Exactly.
And that is why I shop at the farmer's market all the time.
That's it. That's me because I mean I'm kind of like you. I'll buy stuff and
Did I really need this?
I go for the networking. You always run into someone.
Yes,
That's true.
That's probably the reason why.
I go because you see random people you haven't seen in forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
I won't lie. For a while, when the food trucks were coming, the donuts, and
Yes.
the pretzels, I would wait. I was one of those people that would wait in line for an hour for those pretzels and donuts, and so that attracted me to the farmers market in the beginning. Auntie Ruth's.
Is that the
Yeah.
it's as big as your face? Don't
Oh
it?
Yes.
my goodness.
They're opening a store.
They
Yes.
are.
Right here in front of the Earth Fair, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Really?
be dangerously close to me.
Oh.
And I said, just when I was about to lose 50 pounds.
You're gonna have to wait till next year now.
I was
An
just
exception
about
has
to
been
do
made.
See, I'm never in that side of Johnson City, so it's good for me because I'm never in that neck of the woods.
It's right across from where I work. I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm hungry. Time for a pretzel.
Walking distance of where you are.
If
Yeah.
y'all see me in a gutter with a donut hanging out, y'all just mind your business.
You
my
again?
Just mind your business.
That's great.
We'll pick a day we can go together
Yeah.
every Wednesday, you know?
Well, because the ETSU also has the farmers market.
Yes.
That was on campus every
Yeah,
Thursday.
every Thursday.
Oh, really?
And the Lachurro folks were
Yes,
always
go.
parked out there with
Mhm.
the churros. So it's
Oh.
the same owners as Sam's Snowballs.
Really?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Same owners as Sam's Snowballs. And so the Snowballs are great because they're like New Orleans
Yeah.
Snowballs, not this hard, shattered ice nonsense.
Yeah.
But the churros are divine.
What's
I
terrible
think-
is like you walk by it to a meeting, like you're in a rush,
Yeah.
like walking to a meeting, and then you're like, aw. Churro meeting.
I love it.
Lake meeting. Yeah. I think they were at the
They were at the festival.
festival.
The quarters
Okay.
on
Yes,
West
they
End,
were.
yeah.
That line
the
was
girls
huge.
got one. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Do y'all have any questions you've been
For each other?
burning to ask each other?
We kind of like the first time we met. We had a lot of
We
trash
had like an
talk.
exchange of,
Well,
yes.
the college football because I'm a Gator and then she
and
went.
I live right by
You
University of
went in
Miami,
so
so
we had to get through that
Yes.
to bond over the other things.
we had to find common ground,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So we
Not the
overcame
biggest
some
rivalries
things.
in college football.
No, I think FSU and
You-
University of Florida is
okay.
even.
No,
even
I don't like. I
bigger.
have nothing
You
against
think?
the Seminoles, and let me get that on tape.
Really?
I have nothing against the Seminoles. It's like
Lying. I don't believe it.
the Hurricane fans have been so mean to me versus the Seminoles.
I mean, it's Miami.
Yeah.
Were you expecting people to be nice?
I wear my Gator stuff in Miami and I get booed at, like worse than here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mm.
So yeah, but that we bonded over that. You know,
We
we
did.
talked about that a lot.
And truthfully, I haven't met many people that came here from Miami or
Yeah.
were born and raised. A lot of people from Florida, but not necessarily Miami. And Miami is unto itself an interesting place.
It's like someone told me when I moved here. That's not part of the country, so it's its own. Like you, it's like you people from New Orleans. You guys get each other. You know when you put Tabasco, you could taste when someone puts Tabasco in your food.
Yeah.
Like you know that stuff. Like you have that instinct. We know certain things that no one else would know. Yeah.
Well, I was telling my kid, they're doing all these field trips now.
Yeah.
That's the end of the school year and stuff. And I was like, oh, yeah, we would do that too. We went to the Tabasco
I love
facility in elementary school. Like, that was our field trip to the island
I
where
love
we
it.
made Tabasco. And it was just in the air, and your eyes were like burning
Burning.
the whole time in the gift shop. like you would get little things at Tabasco. Like, so we're like seventh, 8th grade getting little things at Tabasco as souvenirs. And my kids were like, an island, did you have to swim there? And I'm like,
Swim there.
Oh my goodness.
So then, yes, you know, I'm like, ferries. I was like, remember in Spider-Man with the ferry?
Remember in Spider-Man?
Wow.
So yeah, but that was our field trip to the Tabasco plant thing. Yeah.
I do miss seeing the water. I was thinking, as soon as you said ferry, I was like, it's so funny you have to explain.
Right?
Like Spider-Man. Like in Miami, you just grow up surrounded by water. And then even when I was in Boston, I had the Charles right there, river. And so I do really miss being surrounded by water. I think that's one of the biggest things I miss moving here.
We're going to go to the Nolichucky this summer.
Ooh.
There you go.
My friends did take me rafting, but they were big believers in like, you don't have to use a company. Like, I've got this.
No.
And so
we have to use a company.
I mean, cue us like strapping. I think it was 10 people because they brought all their kids too, and we have 3 different dogs with us on this too. And we strap all 3 of us together, and some of them aren't even like round rafts. Like we're talking about like a blow up canoe that we're strapping together, and we're just hitting every surface. Finally, her husband just unattaches himself and floats away, and I'm like, take me with you. But it was a very interesting. And they've gotten me to do it twice now.
Wow.
So
Now, I had my first kayaking event last summer.
okay.
I'm not a swimmer.
Yeah.
All that. But rafting is like
Kayaking is better than rafting.
Oh my gosh.
I had one of my coworkers got me kayaking, and it was wonderful. We went to Watauga Lake. You don't really touch the water unless you choose to.
Yeah.
Kayaking, or not kayaking, but rafting, you're pretty much
That's
fully
Wow.
immersed in
Do you
it.
have to wear a helmet?
You know, I wanted to, but they made fun of me.
Wow.
See, you don't wear a helmet. I'm done. No.
Yeah.
Not for fun.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow. Yeah.
now is the Nolichucky like a cruising river?
No.
Cruising route.
Is that the river you went on?
No, we
Okay, I was
did,
gonna say.
and I'm gonna forget.
I was gonna
It's the really dirty one in Asheville.
the dirty bird, the pigeon.
Pigeon River?
Not the
No,
French
it was
Broad
like
River.
French Broad River.
Really?
French Broad. I remember because I got in and I was like, "Is water supposed to be this brown?"
Yeah.
Wow.
No, that's doable.
So you just
Do
shower.
not go.
No, do not. Yeah,
without a
now you're.
raft guy.
I will say. I mean, I assume
Yeah.
were you taught to swim really early in Miami?
Yeah,
like
you have to.
When I was like under 1, your parents kind of like
They threw you in the water.
figure it out
Yeah.
because you're gonna need this skill in your life, and so
Everyone has a pool, even though there's a beach.
so at least I have
real,
that strength with me. But
real Miami people never go to the beach,
it's true, never. And my friends were always so confused by that. They were like, "You live in Miami,
but you never go to the
you
beach.
never go to the beach." It's still so far. It's like 20 minutes away,
Yeah.
and it's
But that's on tolls. With tolls, you're paying $75
Yes,
to go through these tolls.
oh my goodness. Yep. And then you get there, and it's so, there's so many tourists there. It's so crowded. It's
Yeah.
loud.
But I do miss
not
going to
peaceful.
Zara at 10 o'clock at night to get a suit.
We
You know,
don't
like
have.
the good suits. You know, like good business suits.
We don't have a Zara here, and the closest one is Nashville. I've done my research on
I went
this.
to the one in Atlanta.
And when I go to
Yeah.
Nashville, I always make a stop at Zara.
Road trip.
Never heard of it.
Like work event, better go early so I can go to Zara.
Mhm.
Very affordable, but also professional clothes. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The blazers
What
are
is
made
it
in
called
Morocco.
again? Is it online?
Zara, Zara. Yeah, and I got my suit. It was made in Morocco. Beautiful suit, gray suit.
Wow.
I love it. And all my suits most of my suits are from there. It's like I miss the shopping.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to find affordable business clothes too,
Exactly.
right? And so when you find a place that you can find affordable business
It's
clothes.
it's like guys stores. Like they can get a suit, buy one get two free.
Where's our buy one to get? I mean,
Yeah.
Start buying guys.
here they're like 5% off coupon.
Yes. Yes.
If you buy something over
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
there. Well, that's what time we start. 11:17, folks.
This has been amazing.
I love it.
Oh, that went by fast.
I had too many confession corners there, so
Yeah. I love that you guys just met within the last couple of 3 months.
Yeah.
And definitely our first Miamians.
Yes.
Oh,
We
there we
know
go.
they
Was it intentional that you put 2 Miami people, or was it just
I
like,
don't think I knew that. Yeah.
I love
there we go.
What is this? We try to match people based on like months or whatever the case
Yeah.
is, but
I love it.
yeah, I think this is a fabulous conversation.
I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad you
First
guys
of
had
many.
us. I know, right?
And I
Many,
think there needs to
definitely.
be another women's group. If it's not
Yes.
international again, like part 2.
Part 2.
Yeah.
Next time I will definitely be there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there
That's
anything
really
coming up that we need to talk about?
Yes. You guys
What's
know of
coming
any
up?
events?
Ooh.
Right now in my head.
My brain's like.
I know. Things calmed down a bit over summer, so that's what's
Yeah.
giving me pause.
I think
I will plug.
The TED Talk. That's what I was going to mention.
TED
the-
Talk is coming to Johnson City.
Trying to secure a babysitter. It's already sold out. It sold out within the same day.
Mhm.
Oh.
I got my
what is that?
ticket. That's June 6th.
So the Young Professionals Group under the Chamber of Commerce has brought a TED Talk series to
Yeah.
Johnson
That
City. It's
sounds
going to
good.
be
I
great.
love that organization. I looked them. I've aged out.
That's why I stopped being a member. I was in it last year. I never
Were you?
saw you though, but I went. I would go to the lunch and learns.
What is
That's
Yeah.
I only went to the lunch and learns.
What is
But you have to be 40 and under, and I felt like
Yeah.
the OG in the group.
I know. We need to start
there
our
needs
own
to be
little-
We
like
need to start-
41 and up.
41
We
and
need
up.
an elder
Yeah.
millennial group.
Oh,
Exactly. Exactly.
Ooh.
Geriatric.
Geriatric millennial. You're really selling that.
Yeah, because I felt out of place because when I graduated in 2008 during the recession. They're like, oh, I heard about it when I was in 6th grade.
I
because
read
my
that in the
parents-
history books.
And I felt so old. That's what, that last meeting I was there. I felt so. I was like, they don't get me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will plug Home Shopping Network, HSN, is sponsoring Tri Pride's Second Chances Masquerade Adult Prom
Okay.
on Friday, June 16th from 6 to 10 p.m. It's called Second Chances, a Masquerade Adult Prom. $25, and it is at the Gallery, which is above
Yeah, it's above Main Street Pizza.
Main Street Pizza.
the Gallery. No, I think that's King.
That's you're right. No, it's in front of the
barbecue
barbecue.
place.
Southern Craft.
Southern
Yes.
So the Gallery above Southern Craft, Friday, June 16th.
Oh, that's
I
fabulous.
am looking for prom dresses. I am so
Ah.
excited to go because my mother definitely picked out all my clothes until I was like 23.
Wow.
Freedom.
I love it.
Let me lose a pound and it will be.
In business.
I love it.
Fridays after 5, those are coming up.
Yeah, that's coming
Oh,
up
yes,
soon.
Fridays at the
Yeah.
5 are about to
That's
start.
starting I think in June.
Yep,
Come meet some new people.
Yeah.
definitely.
All
All
right.
right.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you
Wonderful.
all.